Hello everyone, we are Art of War.
And we believe in creating a community where people can talk about, learn, and improve their skills at Warhammer 40K.
Our channel has live stream competitive matches of 40K, played by the best players in the world.
And we focus on teaching you how to get better at Warhammer, while also emphasizing sportsmanship and engagement with our audience.
We strive to play every faction in the game to a top level, while also using a variety of lists to show off different playstyles for every faction.
We also offer a variety of other videos such as codex reviews, faction rankings, tactics videos.
When you join our channel, you become part of our community, where we emphasize learning and positive conversation about competitive 40K.
You get early access to our videos, sub badges, emotes, as well as rewatch those hangout and hobby sessions.
Joining our community is a great way for you to show your support for us, so we can keep making awesome videos for you and continuously expand the bounds of competitive 40K.
Welcome everyone, we are live, we are the Art of War, and we are here to talk to you today about Warzone Charadon 2, the Book of Fire.
Book of Fire, John. Fire in this book.
The GW certainly dropped some fire. They knew what they were doing when they named this thing. There is fire. Perhaps even fire and salt.
You said Army of Renowns are never going to be good. Guess what? There is a good one in this book, John.
There is at least one. There is at least one.
It's real good.
Absolutely. So we're here today to talk to you about all the new rules that were just previewed this past weekend. We're talking, of course, about the second campaign book for Warzone Charadon. Yeah, super interesting stuff. We've got rules for Sisters of Battle. We've got rules for Chaos, specifically the Disciples of Be'lakor. And, of course, we do have new rules for the Skitarii Veteran Cohort, which Richard will definitely try to talk about. I wanted to skip them. Yeah, we'll be very objective and totally open-minded when we talk about this. Yep, that's what we're going to do.
Don't worry, John. It's all going to be
okay.
Don't worry.
All right.
But, so many rules coming out. A lot of factions. Chaos getting their first 9th edition taste of some... Well, they got Death Guard.
They've got Space Marines. The Chaos Space Marines and Demons both getting a little bit of love here in a very interesting and unique way. So I honestly think that the Be'lakor is the most interesting of the three supplements. Of course, we're going to talk, about all aspects of it. We're going to review all the rules, give hot takes on each and every... Basically, we're going to go through the book.
Yeah, go through
give some hot takes, be like, oh, this is good, this is bad, I think we can use this, I think this will not be popular. All of the fun stuff. Of course, the whole time, we'll have you with us. So please, our wonderful subscribers, put some comments in the... Yeah, some comments below. If
you want to answer any questions, just
if you disagree with some of our hot takes, if you think that they are perhaps too cold and you would like them to be hotter, chat.
If you were hoping the Skitarii Veteran Cohort would have been even better, send us a super chat. Let us know.
You can also send a super chat if you don't think it should have been better. I will super chat that one myself.
All right, John, where do you think we should start?
I say we start off near and dear to my heart. I say we start off with the Order of the Martyred Lady. And we start off there.
John's going to martyr himself first.
I am going to martyr myself first. There's one thing I know, it's dying on the sword. No, I think we start off with the Order of the Martyred Lady.
All right, so they got a supplement.
They have a supplement. So the other two new rules are Armies of Renown. This is a Codex supplement. So this is just, if you have an Order of Martyred Lady detachment, you access Relic Roller Trade Strats.
Yeah.
They make it nice and easy.
Why don't we start with just what our Martyred Lady does in the Codex, and then add in these
get a little bit of context
here?
Yeah. Absolutely. So Order Martyred Lady in the Codex is they're kind of like the Ultramarines of Sisters, where they're the ones that are on a lot of the art. They're the ones that are in most of the pictures on the website. They have the Black Army. They're the stereotypical looking chapter. They're the one that Celestine is from. They're the one that Saint Catherine is from. They're the main ones. However, their rules, they're probably not one of the more popular chapters or orders. I think they're right in the middle, honestly. The rules are that at the end of any phase in which an Order of Martyred Lady unit dies, you gain 1 Miracle Ice. So if you lose any Order of Martyred Lady units in a phase, you gain 1 Miracle Ice. And this is cumulative with Martyrdom, which is when you lose, or Sacrifice, which is when you lose a character. Mm-hmm. So if you lose an Order of Martyred Lady character, you theoretically get 2 Miracle Ice. That's cool.
A little bit of a factory.
Get a little bit more of a factory going. It's one of the two kind of Miracle Ice factory orders. The other half of this is that anytime an Order of Martyred Lady unit has lost a model, So if they have anything less than their starting strength, then the rest of the units just get +1 hit. This is shooting and combat. It's very flavorful. Martyred Lady really leans into, if we take some casualties, we're going to get better. And the Stratagem, Relic, and Warlord trait all reflect that. The Warlord trait is basically that if your Warlord kills a unit, you get a 6 from Miracle Vice. And if your Warlord or another character dies and you get a Miracle Vice or Sacrifice, that one's also a 6. And their Relic is actually just an Inferno Pistol. That's just really good. Now, it's still a pistol relic, so, don't get your expectations too high. But it's a damage D6 plus 3 12-inch mouth gun. It's like strength 9 AP4 damage D6 plus 3 pistol 1.
Those cannons just find themselves in
Yeah, they find themselves in it can be useful. Yeah. And then their Stratagem is another very unique one, where if a character, or a Martyred Lady character, is slain by an enemy unit, you can spend a CP. The rest of your army is now +1 to wound against the unit that killed that character. They, on the one hand, all of their rules are based around dying. So, you think that they want to die. But if you kill them, they get very mad about it. So, bit of a double-edged sword there. Do you want it or not? I don't know. Martyred Lady, interesting. Not out of the gates considered to be one of the top-tier Sisters orders. They definitely weren't the worst. They definitely weren't the best, at least according to, internet common knowledge, for whatever that's worth. But we're still early in the process, so there's plenty of room to playtest here. And, of course, they do get this new campaign supplement. The new campaign supplement is giving them 3 Warlord traits. I want to say 4 relics, and I think it actually gives them 10 stratagems. There's actually a really healthy number of stratagems in here. The Warlord traits, we'll go through them one at a time. There's 3 of them. Quite frankly, I think only one of them is particularly interesting, but it starts off with Saintly Example. Yep. Saintly Example is that it's kind of like Alpha Legion. This Warlord immediately gets a second Warlord trait from the main book, but you have to randomly roll it.
So you can't just you can't pick the good one.
Nope, you can't pick. It says you must randomly roll a Warlord trait from the book in addition. And then when this Warlord dies, you pick another Order Martyred Lady character, and they become your Warlord, and they generate a new trait immediately. Okay. So it's kind of like Alpha Legion, where you don't actually count as a Warlord dying. Unfortunately, there are no rules for killing the enemy Warlord right now, because Slay the Warlord was removed. So
isn't it Assassinate gives you 1 extra if you kill the Warlord?
Oh, that's true. Assassinate gives you. I don't think we've been playing with that. I have not used that in a single game. Okay.
There's one change where the Warlord.
Yeah, no. I think it's Assassinate. That's fine, but you're basically giving a Warlord trait to randomly generate a Warlord trait, and then later on you get to pick a Warlord trait when you pick a new Warlord. I think I'd rather just pick my Warlord to start.
Just have the good one.
Just have the good, whichever one I wanted. I think I'd rather just have that. But it's definitely fluffy. When people get martyred, they set an example and someone else steps up to fill the boots.
This is a great option when you have a good Warlord tree. In an army like Necrons, this would be a terrible trait. With Sisters, they have a couple that actually
they've got a couple. I think you can afford to just buy them to start the game off. But if there's a bunch of situational ones and you want to pick it mid game, there's something there. But then of course you have to lose your Warlord for this to happen. The next one is St. Catherine's Legacy. This one specifically revolves around a sacred rite, which is Spirit of the Martyr. So just to explain this first, Spirit of the Martyr is a sacred rite where when one of your models dies in close combat, roll a dice, and on a 6, you do a mortal wound to the enemy unit who did it. Now, unfortunately, you have to be losing models in close combat for this to have a 1/6 chance of doing Miracle Lights. So this isn't a very popular sacred rite, but this does provide a buff for it. And that is that if you're within... So the Warlord always counts the sacred rite as active in addition to any other ones. However, it's not by wound loss, it's by model loss, so it's a maximum of 1 roll still for the Warlord. Okay. Yes, it's not. Don't get too excited. And then there's a 6-inch aura of add 1 to the roll for your Spirit of the Martyr roll. So it's an unmodified 5-up instead of an unmodified 6-up. If you're not... So my thing here is that it's kind of pigeonhole you into taking that Sacred Rite. Because if you're not taking the Sacred Rite, this Warlord trait is when your Warlord dies in close combat on a 5-up, you do 1 mortal wound. And I feel like we can do better. And this isn't an impressive Sacred Rite. This definitely makes it better. 5-up is much better than a 6-up. But also you're giving up another Sacred Rite for this. So I think this Warlord trait is another miss, unfortunately. But
what about if you take that Relic banner and for the 1 turn where you can get a second effect?
That's true. It's true.
Synergy, Sean.
Astrid Thurga. Okay, that's fair. All right, sure.
The deep synergies.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. The next one up is Martyr's Strength. This one's actually decent. It's anytime your Warlord loses a wound, they gain 1 strength and they gain 1 attack to a maximum of +2.
Yep.
That's pure simple. It actually has some really good combos with some stuff we're going to talk about later, like the relics. This warlord trait is definitely the best of the three. In my opinion, it's the only one of the three that I'm really considering in a Martyred Lady list. And mostly that is because of how well it stacks with the Blade of Sacrifice. Flipping the page over to the relics, there are 4 relics for Martyred Lady. Blade of Sacrifice, it's a power sword, and it replaces a power sword, so Canonist or Paladin can get it. Statistically, it is the same as a power sword, but wait, there's more. Before you attack with this character, you can choose to lose 1 wound, or you can choose to lose 2 wounds. Why would you do such a thing? Always choose 1. Okay, there's more. Anytime you roll a wound with this relic, stop, the attack sequence ends, you inflict a number of mortal wounds equal to however many wounds you chose to lose. If you chose to lose 1 wound, every wound is 1 mortal. If you chose to lose 2 wounds, every wound is 2 mortals. And if you specifically combo Blade of Sacrifice with that warlord trait I just mentioned, that right there is actually cool. Like, the Canonist goes in, she immediately is like, you know what? I'm going to lose 2 wounds right now. I'm not a 3-wound character, but now I make 6 attacks at strength 6, and every wound roll is automatically 2 mortals. That's kind of cool.
That's a lot.
That's a combo, but that's a lot of mortals. So if you want to consistently kill a witch unit, boy golly, does she have you covered.
You trying to trap me in combat now?
Yeah, because it's, I take 2 wounds, okay, strength 6, every 2 plus wound is 2 mortals, like chop, 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 chop. That's gonna hurt. So I like this part. That little combo right there, that's a really cool warlord trait relic combo for Order Martyred Lady. Gives them some spice. Next up was the Helm of the Fiery Heart. This is another defensive relic. Sisters have a couple of them. This one is just once per game. You get a 2-up invuln, you cannot reroll it. That's it. So once a game you have a Shadow Field, but you just have a 2-up invuln for the whole phase even if you fail one. That is a really good defensive relic. I don't know if it stands out above the other 2 because the other defensive relics from the main codex are all game lasting and this is one phase of the game. It's cool. It doesn't really blow my mind, to be honest. Just because Sisters have so many ways to keep characters alive. Like, just slap down 2 CP, and just the first time they die, we bring them back. Instead of 1 CP to buy a relic and hope that you make your saves in the one phase you need to, which you got good odds with the 2-up invuln, but still, nothing crazy there. Next up, we have the Scepter of Vengeance. This is the relic specifically for the Dogmata. Instead of the normal Dogmata mace is strength +2, AP2, damage 2. This is strength times 2, AP2, damage 2. So on a strength 3 character, this effectively is a relic mace that takes you from strength 5 to strength 6. And it has a special rule where it's +1 to wound against Tyranids. That's it. So
Tyranids. Interesting.
You're paying essentially to just take a relic that's +1 strength on a Dogmata. Okay. And then you are +1 to against Tyranids. Tyranids are not popular enough that I really want to include this relic, unfortunately. It's fine, but I think we can really safely skip that one. And then the last relic is another actually fairly interesting one. It's the Candela Scroll. It is activated in your command phase, a 6-inch aura of +1 attack, which sounds really good, but it can only be taken by an Magifier. Okay. So, she's not as popular, but she's also not that expensive. I think the Magifier is only 45 or 50 points, so it's not that hard to fit this into a list. It could help you if you're going pure Order Martyred Lady. I think I actually would take this.
Yeah, because you can throw away for Miracle Dice too.
You can also, she can go out there, honestly, make the Magifier Warlord. She goes out there with all the comp units, but also in an army that's not specifically designed to be combat, having once again +1 attack order can really help turn the tide if you're trying to just chip people to death that get close to you. Like if you're trying to beat up Eldar Witches trapping in combat and you just make all of your normal girls +1 attack and just run in there, that can help a lot.
Yeah.
So this one's not a bad one. Blade of Sacrifice I think is quite good. The other 2 to me are hard passes. Candela Scroll I don't think it's actually going to make the cut, but if you're doing pure Martyred Lady instead of a soup, I think it ends up working. Next up we've got 8 stratagems total.
Yep, they got quite a suite of stratagems here.
Yeah, 8 stratagems is really good. I'm very happy about that. Again, a miss of hits, a mix of misses. Starting off, Vengeance for Armageddon. 1 CP, reroll the hits against orcs in combat.
Possibly about to be useful.
Really? On the one hand, orcs are about to be popular. On the other hand, Sisters already have stratagems to give them rerolls to hit in combat that aren't faction locked.
Yeah. So
I feel like this is just a different way to do something you already did. First of all, anyone who has Zealot already rerolls to hit. No. Second, for 1 CP, if you're within 6 inches of a priest, you get Zealot. So if I need rerolls to hit, I feel like I can already get it with Sisters. But you know what? Maybe you want to do it in 2 spots. This is not useless. It could be cool. Next up is Zealous Deathwish. This one is interesting, and I think this one is that anytime you are in close combat with a unit that outnumbers you by 5,
Yep.
and to be clear, vehicles count as 5 models here,
Mhm.
you add +1 to your hit roll. So it's only 1 CP. A lot of these are cheap. That's actually my favorite part about the Martyred Lady Stratagems. A lot of these are very inexpensive. Do we have any comments so far? Yeah, we'll pull it up in the screen.
Yep.
So this is a cool stratagem, 1 CP when you're outnumbered. If you're sending out a small Zephyrim squad or like a Repentia squad and you're trying to like butcher a large 20-man brick of anything in the game right now because there's a few of those running around. This is useful. So this is a good 1 CP stratagem. No complaints here. I'm pretty happy with it.
Definitely. We have a $5 super chat from Mr. Lyle Dixon. What will it take for Seeks to finally admit GW has gone too far with the Adeptus Mechanicus? We're going to talk about the Adeptus Mechanicus in a little bit.
We definitely will be talking about Adeptus Mechanicus.
I promise, Lyle, you might get what you're looking for.
Might get what you're looking for here? Okay.
All
right. Next up is Pious Machine Spirit. It's just a 1 CP count as top tier for vehicles. That's a good stratagem to have. Sisters don't really rely on vehicles much right now. But you know what? Maybe you need to move a Rhino across the battlefield. If you actually take an Exorcist or Castigator, this becomes very useful because Sisters don't have any healing mechanisms. And also, those units normally don't benefit from Martyred Lady because single model units don't lose a model to get +1 to hit. So, or if they do, they're not hitting anymore. So I think this is actually cool because it gives a reason to take vehicles Martyred Lady, whereas, most of the traits benefit a vehicle to some degree or another. Martyred Lady just doesn't. So here you go. Here's a reason to take Martyred Lady vehicles. Next up is Rejoice the Fallen. Which one is this?
This is in your opponent's shooting phase.
Oh, that's right. This is the 1/2 CP stratagem. This one is situational but cool. So it's a 2 CP shoot twice, essentially. But what you actually end up doing is at the end of your opponent's shooting phase, if you have a unit below 50% strength that started the phase above half strength, that unit can shoot.
Yep.
This is a little situational again because it requires your opponent pick one of your units that is worth shooting with, shoot half of it to death, and decide to stop right there. If you can pull that off, 2 CP to shoot on death is cool. I think this is more scary than anything because now people are not going to leave a unit chipped. Yeah. It's more that you never use it, but its existence forces your opponent to commit to a game plan. Where some people, like, once you burn some cherubs on a Retributor squad, and then you kill a couple Meltas, you may ignore it. Here, it's like, all right, let me actually finish this off so I don't get for shooting.
Yeah, you leave the last 3 Retributors, the multi-Meltas, and their cherubs, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah. So, but this is...
Yeah, so this is emphasizing running those bigger squads.
Yeah, this could be a reason to take the larger squads. Plays a little bit away from the MSU. But yeah, Martyr's Pyre is the next one. This is 1 CP in your shooting phase. You select an infantry unit. And it has to be a unit within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. All of their flamers go to pistol.
That's a great thing.
That's cool. That's really useful on Retributors.
Yep.
And there's a little thing in addition, which is after you've shot all your flamers, you roll a dice for every model in it. And if you roll a 1, they shoot again and then explode. They die. They don't actually explode and do damage. They just the flamer tank pops and the girl is removed. So occasionally you'll get an extra flamer shot out of this for 1 CP, but mostly it's about the pistol part. Pistol is good. Again, this feels kind of redundant because sisters have the 1 CP fall back and shoot. But if you get trapped in combat, like there's situations where it's come up. So this is not bad. And I think that flamers are going to get a lot more popular. We've been testing out some heavy flamers. We really like them. So I'm not against more buffs to flamers or ways to make flamer, Retributors useful. Not against that at all.
The MSU nature of the flamer is very powerful into MSU melee armies like Charadon too.
Absolutely. And then we've got one more here.
Death.
This is another actually pretty good one. And again, 1 CP. A lot of these are cheap. 1 CP, pick an infantry or Paragon Warsuit unit from your army. That unit cannot fall back, but it gains objective secured. And if it already has it, counts as double.
That's very cool.
That is very cool. It is at the start of your movement phase, so it's right after you score primary. So it will not affect that the way as some other command phase buffs do, like the Dogmata. But still, 1 CP gain OBSEC if you're going to go out there and contest an enemy objective.
Yep. This
is not a bad stratagem to have. So far it's a lot of 1 CP situationally pretty good stratagems. None of these so far are showstoppers. So only a couple of them are really misses, but quite a few of these are 1 CP pretty useful.
Yep.
All right, there is, however, 2 more stratagems. One of them is used when you take casualties on an Order of Our Martyred Lady unit, and that unit you roll a dice for every model that dies, and on a 4+, they either make a shooting attack or a single close combat attack. This is a Martyr's Duty for 1 CP. 1 CP to basically slap an Astartes banner onto a unit. If it's something that you're throwing out there and it's just going to die, you know what? Maybe you get 2 multi-multi shots out of it.
Yep.
It's not bad. It's not great, but it's only 1 CP. So that makes the unreliability of it a little more palatable. I'll take it.
Yeah.
I think this is a good, solid strat.
It's just a nice utility piece to have. Now, you're seeing that a lot of these are utility and situational, so you're going to have like, a nice cheat sheet.
Just you're gonna need to remember when to use these. I think a lot of these are solid. None of them are blowing me away, but a bunch of solid buffs here. They're all around either I'm about to die, or you're about to kill me, or I'm already dying.
Yep.
Martyred Lady is really playing into the name. They have one thing and they know what they're about. The last one is it's a pretty generic pregame one. After you nominate an Order of our Martyred Lady Warlord, they immediately gain another warlord trait from the Martyred Lady table. So we've seen this in a lot of Space Marine chapters. Downside is that it has to be your natural born warlord, which means you are not taking this at the same time as Morven Ball. Period. Flat done. And that's it for Martyred Lady.
Yep. So when you just give us a summary here, like
it's kind of hard to figure out what Martyred Lady wants to do, because I feel like half of these rules are trying to benefit MSU. Like when you lose a unit, you do cool things. You get Miracle Dice. All this stuff happens. But also when you lose models, you do half the things. So big units and small units both benefit in different ways. So I'm not really sure if you want to try to do a mix of each in your army, or how exactly you want that to work. Because sisters in general lend themselves a little bit to MSU.
Yeah.
But then, like a larger Retributor squad benefits a ton from that 2 CP shoot when you lose half the unit, because you may still have more weapons left at this point.
Yeah, and certainly just with the Cherubs alone, that's scary.
Exactly. So hard to say here. I'm not really sure what's best, but it's not. I don't think any of this is bad.
You are going to be playing Armored Lady.
I am going to be playing Armored Lady tomorrow. I'm going to be running an Armored Lady patrol in my list, testing out some of these relics, warlord traits, some stratagems. I really like that Canoness. That's the best Smash Canoness that Sisters of Battle have access to, replacing whatever Bloody Rose were doing. Whatever they were doing, it is not 12 mortal wounds. And so yeah, there's cool stuff here. Putting it all together is going to be a little difficult in my opinion. This may be one that you have to playtest, see which of these strats is actually useful, which ones you need to build for, because I feel like some of these rules are pulling you in different directions, and you need to decide which direction you want to go in. I'm still leaning towards MSU anyways, and that means some of these strats won't be useful, but some of them still will. Like if you just have 5 multi-melt Retributors and they kill them, well, pop 1 CP, roll 4 dice every 4 plus 2 multi-melt shots hitting on 2s. That's not bad.
Where do you think this puts our Martyred Lady in the overall Sisters order rankings?
I think,
if you had to rank the orders.
See, honestly, depending on the Argent Shroud ruling, I think this puts our Martyred Lady up to 3rd. I still put them behind Bloody Rose and Ebon Chalice. I think they're right there with Argent Shroud, where if the Argent Shroud rules cannot be used when you get out of transport, I think Martyred Lady's better. If they can, I think it's better than Martyred Lady. I do think that this is solidly ahead of the other two, which is you know what? Sacred Rose, though, people are liking. So Martyred Lady's this feels like a lot of situational stuff. It's not much of a buff. I think it's still above Valorous Heart. I don't even know if it's above Sacred Rose. I think it's right around Sacred Rose level, if I'm being honest.
So middle tier.
Middle tier, the 2 Miracle Ice generation, because you get a good Canoness, but you already can do good combat characters, and it's a lot of situational stuff that's hard to prepare into a list. It's kind of a wait and see on the battlefield thing. So we'll see. I'm going to play it tomorrow on our YouTube stream in about 24 hours if you guys want to check that out. So you can see my thoughts on it live. But this is definitely one that I think you need to get some games in to see how it actually plays on the battlefield. Because looking at the strats, a lot of this is very, oh, that's cool and it matters. How many times is this going to matter?
Yeah, it's not obvious as like Cold Strife. Where
exactly.
This is just amazing.
Yeah, there are some supplements where you look at this and you're like, this is what I want with my life.
Metallica themselves have some very good, powerful things in there. A couple situational ones.
Yeah.
But
this feels mostly situational.
Yeah.
Only 1 or 2 choices that are actually like powerful. And I feel like most of that's the Canoness. But that
Canoness is scary.
That Canoness is scary. I do really, just in general, I think I like this. If nothing else, it takes what was an underloved faction and it definitely makes it better. Yeah. Where it stacks within the Sisters power ranking, I don't think much has changed, but more options for the Codex cannot be bad, especially in a new book that we're really still in the exploration phase.
Yep.
A lot of people,
It could just be like Ebon Chalice, though. You tried it last week, Really love the additional mortal wounds and utility
Yeah,
drops.
yeah, I didn't like it on
practice, it
paper,
could,
but
yeah.
in practice it turned out to be actually pretty useful. Maybe Order Martyred Lady's gonna do the same thing. You know, we're just you pitch out a couple extra meltdown flamer shots across the game, and all of a sudden, you know what? Somehow that added up to what you needed.
We've got Matt with a £10 super chat. John, please show me tomorrow how my sisters can beat AdMech. The few games I've played so far, they have been oppressive, and it looks like it's going to get worse.
All right, thank you, Matt, for that super chat. We really appreciate your support. I'm going to do my very, very best to bring down the beast, the metallic omniscient beast.
I am going to be running AdMech, in fact, tomorrow. However, it will be a different list, and we'll get to that in a second when we get to the AdMech rules.
Yeah.
Matt O with a $5 super chat. Been loving my mono Martyred Lady test games with the extra dice. Curious to see what you think tomorrow.
I am looking forward to getting a couple extra miracle dice to the list just by virtue of Martyred Lady. There's some cool rules in here. It's a question of how useful are they going to be on the battlefield. If you've been enjoying it, I'm glad to hear that. I'm looking forward to it. But I think Martyred Lady is definitely one that's going to need some testing. So if you've been getting some tests in, hopefully that's helpful. We'll see if I can replicate it.
All right.
Are we we're gonna dabble in the warp for a little bit?
A little bit in the war.
No Mark Perry here to help us out.
The fans of Chaos, they did get some rules. All right.
Sure
We're going to judge how good these rules are in practice.
I actually think this is cool. I actually think this is good.
Bellacor's Disciples or the reprinted Legion rules?
Bellacor's Disciples. Reprinted Legion rules are exactly the same as before.
I'm sorry, Chaos fans.
Yeah,
we wanted you to get the extra rules.
I really was hoping it would be like different, and it just wasn't. So, but I like the Be'lakor rules though. I think they're very limiting. Be'lakor himself is 360 points, but he's a tank.
He's a tank. He has some amazing defensive rules here, and yes, he's hard to hide, but at the same time, they gave him rules. He's not easy to kill.
So Warhammer community, of course, has previewed a lot of his stats, but just to summarize real quick. He's 16 wounds. He flies, moves 12 inches. He has 6 attacks base. He has a 4-up invuln. He's T7.
Yep.
You're -1 to wound him, I think. And I believe you're -1 to hit him, and you cannot reroll hits against Be'lakor. So shooting Be'lakor is kind of going to suck, just if I'm being honest here. Shooting Be'lakor is going to be hard. Punching Be'lakor is not much better, but it is a little bit better. But it's really not, actually. Punching Be'lakor also sucks, because Be'lakor will punch you back. His 6 attacks are carried out with one of 2 profiles. If he's really trying to stab you, he's trying to hammer something down. I believe he's going to be 6 attacks at strength 12, AP 4, damage D3 plus 3.
Yep.
And you cannot take invulnerable saves against that.
That's scary. That's Nightbringer, but a lot more damage.
Yeah, and you can kind of guess that Bellacor's weapon skill too, by the way.
Yeah.
In case that wasn't obvious. So Be'lakor, he hits, and he also has a sweep attack, which is a strength user, which can be 8, 7, 6, depending on how great he is. AP 3 damage 1, and he makes 2 hit rolls instead of 1.
Yep.
So he just goes in and makes 12 attacks. That's perfectly fine for picking up hordes or most things, honestly. That's still pretty good.
Yep. He's a captain for your Disciples of Be'lakor. He's also -1 leadership, -1 combat attrition within 6 inches.
But that's getting both of those together is kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to spend a relic on, but for free that can come up.
There's some big blobs in the game right now.
Like my Reaver Lieutenant was like shockingly useful when I got that over, and I'm like, oh, hey.
And then if your army's Battleforge, you can't include the model in a detachment that includes any other demon prince. Like Bellacor's the boss.
Bellacor's the
He's
demon.
the boss.
Bellacor's the demon prince. There are no demon princes with Be'lakor.
He's also a Psyker.
He's a Psyker. He knows. I think he knows 2 spells from his own discipline.
Yep, and then can cast 2.
Yeah. He also, this is important. He did gain all 4 of the Loci.
Yep.
Which means that he benefits from demon strats, and that's kind of cool. Him being a captain, it's the old style, right? There's no core lock here.
It only excludes vehicles.
Okay, so Be'lakor himself are real ones to hit.
Yeah.
And he'll give all demons, because not many of those are vehicles. He'll give them all real ones to hit. And he'll give a decent amount of chaos stuff for real ones to hit.
Yep.
So Be'lakor doesn't like tanks. But everyone else he seems to be okay with.
Don't put your models in rhinos.
He does not like tanks. He's a tank. He's really punchy. Let's go through his spells, actually, because this is kind of part of the data sheet here.
Yep. He's got 6 from the Noctic discipline. So
Wait, he knows 6?
No, he knows 2.
Oh, okay, he knows 2.
He gets to pick 2 of them.
Okay, all right, fair. Okay.
And Smite, of course. Shrouded Step is a Warp Charge 6. If manifests, you select a friendly Bellicor infantry unit within 18 of the Psyker. Remove that unit from the battlefield. Set up anywhere that's 9 inches away. If that unit remains stationary this turn, it is instead treated as having made a normal move.
Okay, so that's cool.
It's
Gate of Infinity for Chaos, so
Yep.
you can honestly, like, some of the big things I think about are like, what if you teleport 30 Bloodletters turn 1, and then they do their 3d6 plus 1 charge? That's pretty makeable.
Yep.
This cannot be Auspex scan because that sure is not reserved. You don't have to spend the 2 CP to deep strike 30 Bloodletters.
Yep.
There's some upside here.
This is good for Retrieve Octaria's data tech, potentially setting
Yeah,
it up.
it
for
is
late
the
game
psychic phase, but
You know, you
setting
set it up. It's just like Gate. Turn 4, you do it in a spot where they can't really contest it, and then
Yep.
finish it off.
Absolutely. Definitely good for mission play. Good for just adding mobility that's not warp time, because warp time got a little boring, to Chaos and Chaos Demons.
Yep.
So, really good spell.
Then we have Wreathed in Shades. This is a Warp Charge 7. If manifested, select a friendly Disciples Bellicor unit, excluding monsters and vehicles, once again, excluded, within 12 of this Psyker. Till the start of your next Psychic phase, enemy models cannot target that unit with ranged weapons unless that unit is the closest eligible target, or it's within 12 inches of the firing model.
So, that's really cool. You can hide
defense.
something.
Yep.
I think, you could hide something like, honestly, Zinch Flamers as they're getting upfield. You could hide Obliterators, Havocs. I don't think you can take Noise Marines with Bellicor, but this is still pretty good.
Once again, one of the biggest problems with the demon stuff is their kind of stat lines outside of really relatively durable stuff like Beast and Nurgle.
Yeah.
They kind of instantly die. This at least helps them get across the battlefield.
Absolutely. So this is a cool one, I think. I really like this. Because you can have, Bellicor, Beast of Nurgle, and then just put something behind the Beast of Nurgle and make it untargetable. It's Warp Charge 7, so it's a little hard to cast, but when you pass it, that's a good spell.
Yep. Hell of Despair is a... you select an enemy unit that's within range invisible. You roll 3d6. If you roll greater than the enemy unit's leadership, you select one of the following abilities. So if it has any aura abilities, you select one and you turn it off until the next psychic phase.
Solid.
Until the start of your next psychic phase, that unit can't perform actions. So if they have action one
Very
unit,
situational and useful, but good to remember.
and then until the start of your next psychic phase, in the fight phase, that unit is it's a fight last.
Okay, so it's either going to fight last, lose an aura, or no actions.
That's not bad to have
Yeah.
access to. Roll.
And because you have the choices, the action one is fine because you're not going to use it often, but when you use that, that's cool. And you can just choose no aura or no.
Yep. You do have to beat their enemy leadership. However, Bellicor with that -1 leadership, a little bit of can help reduce it.
And 3d6 is not bad at all.
No, 2d6 is where it's sketchy, but that's perfectly reasonable. Then there's Void Slivers, Warp Charge 5. Select an enemy unit within 12, invisible to Psyker. Draw a line between any part of this Psyker's base and any part of the selected model's base or hull. Selected model's unit suffers a mortal wound. If it has 11+, it's D3. Mortal wounds. Every other enemy unit that the line passes through suffers a mortal wound. Once again, if it's 11 or more, it's D3.
Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Random mortal wound spell. Chaos never hates mortal wounds. There's another one, Betraying Shades, in here. That's another mortal wound spell. It's not bad.
Yep, that one is a Warp Charge 6. You select an enemy unit with an 18 invisible. Select up to 6 models in the unit and add together the unmodified attacks characteristics of those models. Then roll a number of D6 equal to the total. And if the result of the psychic test is 11 or more, you add +1 to the result. So each 6 plus it's 1 mortal.
So you just need to find those 4 attack units, maybe some Skitarii, and start rolling dice. That's pretty good though.
It's decent. Both mortal powers, they aren't quite as powerful as the Thousand Suns ones.
Yeah, of course.
But these other ones are quite interesting.
I think Wreathed Shades and Shrouded Step are both really strong.
Those
are the two that immediately Bellicor knows too. And I believe, by the way, that if you take his Army of Renown, Psykers in the detachment can still take these spells. So you could have a Herald of Zinch, just gain access to this power.
Yeah.
So I think any disciples of Bellicor Psyker can gain this.
And there was one other spell, which is Warp Charge 7. You select an enemy unit within 18, and you subtract 1 from the attack's wound roll and reduce the armor penetration characteristic by 1.
Okay, so someone in melee is getting a lot worse.
Yeah.
Pick Repentia, or even just pick a horde unit. Pick 20 Skitarii, and it's all right. No, you already know that people -1 to wound. Now if I tag you in combat, you're really just doing nothing at all.
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about chip damage on like a wounded, beat up unit, or just take one of their big heavy hitters and tone it down a notch.
Any of those low strength volume of attacks, relatively low AP units, this actually just transforms them.
Yeah,
into
that
not doing
really
a lot.
makes it not useful. Yeah, like like assault intercessors, witches. Yeah, they're only AP1. A lot of attacks, but -1 to wound and AP dash. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
We already had a bunch of low strength, no AP witches, and they were useless. So
with
put it back to
Bellacor's mobility, 18-inch range, that's not bad. Yep.
One of the things I want to point out with some synergy here is some of these spells look a little unreliable, but you have the demon stratagems, so you could put one of these spells on a Herald of Tzeentch, and he can use 1 CP to make the cast value of that spell 9. He just rolls a 9 on 2 dice, and that's what he rolls. And that auto passes any of those spells.
So when you really need that gate,
if you really need a gate, or if you really need to hide someone, that's pretty cool.
Let's do the actual just general benefits and then do the stratagems.
Let's do it. So this is now for the Disciples of Be'lakor, the Army of Renown.
Yep. So Be'lakor has to be the warlord, of course, and you can't include any other big baddies or specialist units like Noise Marines, Plague Marines, Berserkers.
You also can't include demon engines.
Yep, you can't. Sad, but he hates the vehicles.
Yeah, so you don't get demon engines, you don't get the cult troops, you don't get any greater demons, and you don't get any demon princes. So this is Be'lakor and all of his little friends. That's what this is. Be'lakor and all of his little friends. The limits are very harsh here, but you do get some really cool stuff. You do get some cool stuff.
So all their negatives are the cultists have to have the same number as Heretic Astartes infantry. So for each.
All right, so that's future proofing of what's about to happen to them. Okay.
Yep.
All right, good to know.
And then you can't include a second demon unit in your army that owes its allegiance to the same chaos god, unless your army also includes at least one demon unit that owes its.
Basically, what this says is that if you want to include 2 Khorne demon units, you must have first taken 1 Slaanesh Nurgle Tzeentch.
Yep.
If you want to include 3 Khorne demon units, you must have first included 2 Slaanesh Nurgle Tzeentch.
Yeah.
So they really want you to spread the love here. I think this is going to look like a couple of tax characters. However, it should also be noticed that Be'lakor does have Slaanesh, Nurgle, Tzeentch, and Khorne.
He's a demon unit.
So he does count as he does take up kind of the first row by himself. After that, maybe you see people throw in 1 Fury squad of Khorne, because that's cheap. Or maybe they take a Bloodletter Bomb. And then like a Nurgling. Maybe they take a Skull Cannon. Are they chariots or vehicles?
I haven't done.
Could you give them real ones to hit?
Don't ask these questions.
Come on, this is important.
Yeah. Hilariously, they might be chariots.
If they're chariots, Be'lakor will give them real ones to hit.
And these restrictions also apply to any units that can be added to your army using the demonic ritual.
Oh my goodness, wow. Okay, so your summoning is really...
It's not what you want it to be.
Okay. Maybe those summoning points are just for more horrors.
So, benefits. There is a long list of
benefits. There are a lot of benefits.
Like half a page of benefits here. All units in your army gain the Disciples of Be'lakor. All units in your army with the Heretic Astartes faction keyword gain the Legion Disciples keyword. All units with the army with Chaos Demons, once again, gain demonic. All the troops gain OBSEC. If the detachment contains any units with the Chaos Demons faction keyword, can use stratagems, relics, warlord traits as if they were Chaos Demons detachment. So once again, like John said, they get access to some of the cool demon stratagems. If a detachment contains any units with the Heretic Astartes faction keyword, it can use strats, same thing with the Chaos Space Marine version. And then you get access to the particular strats here. Disciples of Be'lakor Psychers have to generate from the Noctic discipline. And their characters do not gain a demonic locus, but instead gain the Locus of Shadows ability, which is, while a friendly demonic disciples unit within 6 of this model, each time a ranged attack is made against that unit, your opponent cannot reroll the hit roll.
That's pretty good.
Great. If the attacker is more than 12 away, -1 to that hit roll.
Okay, so demons that are -1 to hit against shooting most of the time until you're way too close to them.
Yep.
And you cannot reroll the hit. That is a lot harder to kill. This is better than any of the Locus from demons. So other than maybe Slaanesh's Advance in Charge, but for Tzeentch or Khorne or Nurgle, this is much better than any of that, in my opinion. This is a mile better.
You want to shoot at those beasts of Nurgle that are disciples of Be'lakor?
Yeah, not rerolling it's -1 to hit.
They're starting to get really annoying.
That's too much. Like that's the play right
That's
now.
a little upsetting spaghetti with the durability. Then you have the Legion one, which they gain this Disciple of Shadows ability. So your Heretics Astartes units will gain, each time a combat attrition test is taken, you add 1 to the test. So can negate any...
Okay, so combat attrition is very... So they're not... If they fail morale, they lose 1 guy, but then they roll 1s, but then they add 1 test they're at 1s. So they're good there.
And then each time a ranged attack targets the unit, if an attacker is more than 12 away, -1 to hit.
So this is just slightly better than Alpha Legion, but you don't get the strats.
Yeah.
Just a combat attrition kind of buff, but, you know, this isn't bad.
It's not bad. The Demon one is...
The Demon one's really good. The Chaos Space Marine one is like, that's cool. I think that this is really good for demons in general.
Which we haven't, honestly, they've kind of
they've dropped off a lot.
declined
They have.
significantly.
And I don't think that there were, there's only one Warlord trait, which is Shadow Lord. I don't think that there's a special relic for this, but Shadow Lord is Bellacor's Warlord trait.
Yep,
Because Be'lakor is the Warlord if he's there.
Yeah, he has to be. Select one friendly Disciples of Be'lakor unit, once again excluding vehicles, within 9 of the Warlord until the start of next command phase. Each time model in that unit makes an attack, you re-roll the hits.
So that's really cool. Again, on a Demon unit, Chapter Master is actually looking pretty good.
Yep.
That's something Demons don't have. Chaos Space Marines have ways to get pluses to hit and rerolls. This isn't unique to them. But still, Chapter Master on like a Havoc squad or an Obliterator squad is not the worst.
Blood Letter squad, you're going to teleport.
Or the Blood Letter squad, you're about to teleport to the front lines. I can think of you. This is a good Warlord.
That gets scary.
That gets very... I do not want this anymore. I no longer have interest in playing against this.
It's not like some of the other named character Warlord traits where they're trash and you're stuck with it.
Like
This is
Inspiring
actually...
Presence and stuff.
Yeah,
This is a good Warlord trait for Be'lakor.
All right, stratagems. So we've got the Shadow Pact, 1 CP, and use the stratagem in your command phase. You select a Mark of Chaos or Legion Disciples infantry unit from your army that has not dedicated itself to a specific dark god, and then you select one of the packs below, and you get it until your next command phase. It's either Pack of Blood, add +1 to attack, get a 5 of Invuln, +1 to toughness, or add 1 to the move characteristic, and 1 to advance and charge rolls.
Okay, so they get kind of a buff that's tied to one of the 4 Chaos Gods. 1 CP, that's cool. You know, get a 5 of Invuln when you need it. Can this be done in Cultists by any chance?
This is Mark of Chaos, Legion Disciples infantry.
So yes.
Cultists have the mark, right? Can get them.
Cultists can have marks.
Yep.
They have Legion, even though they don't get traits.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think they can.
They can. So you can just 1 CP give a Cultist 5 of Invuln. 1 CP give a Cultist +1 attack. 1 CP give any unit +1 attack that's not marked.
Really needs to get on the objective.
Yeah, +1 move and advance. Like,
And to charge, yeah.
if you can get this on something that can advance and charge, which is hard to do now that you mention it. But this is still cool. 1 CP. This is a good utility strat. You don't have to use it every game, but
Chaos Terminators, I could see this being pretty effective.
yeah, Chaos just 1 CP +1 attack is generally
cheap,
useful.
then,
Yeah, and they are very cheap.
We've got Demonic Boon. Use the strat at the start of your fight phase when a Legion Disciples unit, excluding vehicles from your army, within 6 of a friendly Demonic Disciples unit is selected to fight. Till the end of the phase, add 1 to the strength characteristics of the Legion Disciples unit, and each time a model in the Legion Disciples unit makes a melee attack, 6 is auto wound.
Be'lakor hates tanks,
He hates tanks.
but that's 1 CP.
Yeah, but you do have to have a Demonic Disciples unit next to you, basically, fighting.
Yeah. But think of like
But yeah,
Horus.
you're
right?
going to be charging.
Yeah, this is good.
Legions of Shade, 1 CP. Use a strat at the start of your movement phase or at the start of your charge phase. Select a Disciples
That sounds
Be'lakor
cool.
unit from your army. Till the end of the phase, models in that unit can move horizontally through enemy models. That's just good.
That's great. So 1, if you get trapped, 1 CP, fall back through it. 2, if you're fast, go through people. Charge through. The charge is a really good one here.
It's huge. It gets you on objective.
That's
They
so
can't
good,
block them off.
You can't. It's much harder to move blocked Be'lakor's army here. So 1 CP, that's a great strat. I think that's wonderful.
That's awesome. And all of them so far.
The next one may be the one of my favorites.
Mortal Boon. It's 2 CP,
Yep.
so a little pricier here. Use the strat at the start of the morale phase. Select a Demonic Disciples unit from your army within 6 of a friendly Legion Disciples unit. Once again, they want to be close to each other. Till the end of the phase, each time that Demonic Disciples unit takes a morale test, it's automatically passed, and you count as having passed the test with an unmodified roll of a 1.
Think of what that means for demons.
Oh,
Carrying an icon.
I hate when they come back.
Hate when they come back. So it's a 2 CP auto pass with an extra step, but you get D6 models back if you have an icon.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yep.
Like, it's so often that, like, if you've taken some casualties on, like, pink horrors, and you're just like, man, if they roll a 1, they're going to grow onto the objective. And then your opponent's like rolls a 2 and like, man, if I'd rolled a 1, I would have won the game. I'm like, okay, the 1 at 6, whatever. 2 CP,
2 CP,
done. they pass the morale check, grow onto an objective.
Now it's a consistent play.
That's consistent. That's really
it's huge. You saw
good.
how powerful it is with warriors.
Yeah, that's a really cool rule, I think.
Yep, definitely worth the 2 CP. Then Drought of Terror, 1 CP. Use the strat at the start of the morale phase. Select a demonic disciples unit from your army, and to the end of the phase, that unit gains the following ability. It's an aura. While enemy units are within 6 inches, each time an enemy model flees from that unit. If any models in the unit have lost any wounds, one model from your unit regains a wound.
Yep.
If no models in this unit have lost any wounds, but it's not at starting strength, you can revive a model with 1 wound remaining. And the models this way can be set up with engagement range if the unit's already in combat.
Anything that hinges on morale feels a little situational, but at only 1 CP, this is probably worth tossing out every once in a while.
Yeah, because
you can heal wounds, get models back. If you ever like kill a couple guardsmen in like 2 different squads and you start stacking -1 leadership stuff, that's kind of cool.
It's only 1 CP, so there are uses where you really would want to bring that model back.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you again, set up an engagement range so you can grow a little bit and then pass a morale check and suddenly the unit is stretched off into the sky.
Blessings of Bellicor 2 CP. Use the strat in any phase when a saving throw is made for a Disciples of Bellicor model from your army against an attack that has failed. The damage characteristic of the attack is changed to 0, I believe.
Yep.
You cannot use this stratagem if Bellicor is not on the battlefield.
So 2 CP, essentially after you fail a save, 2 CP does no damage. That's pretty good.
I mean,
it's situational.
It's probably you're using it on Bellicor.
Yeah, but like if you fail a save against a multi-melta and you've only got a couple wounds left, I will spend 2 CP to still have Bellicor.
Yeah.
Or a Laz Chicken. And it's after you roll the saves. So if let's say Laz Chicken shoot me, I fail, you make me take 4 wounds. I fail 2 of them. If I've got 10 wounds left, that's scary. Maybe I CP reroll 1, maybe I hit it, and then I'm like, oh, 2 CP past the last one, no damage.
You're talking, and maybe he's the only model on the objective, and you just need him to survive.
If you need him to survive, or if it's the last attack of the phase, and the Bellicor is about to die, and you'd really rather he be alive, that's a good back pocket to have, I think. All right, that's it for Chaos.
I think these are.
I'm impressed.
This is definitely one of the better armies of Renown we've seen.
Yeah, this is since we haven't read AdMech yet, this is the best army of Renown I've seen so far.
Yep.
I think it's good. I think it's actually good. I don't think it's amazing. I think it's better than anything Chaos Marines have. I think it's better than anything Demons have. I think this is very close to Death Guard tier. I think it might be... It's close to Death Guard tier. But Death Guard was previously the best Chaos. And this feels better than Chaos Space Marines. It feels better than Demons. So I think most Chaos players should try this. There's cool jank in there. There's definitely combos that I haven't caught yet, because I'm not a natural born Chaos player here. So
neither of us are.
Neither of us are. But immediately it's okay, teleport Bloodletters, teleport Flamers of Ancient Mortal Wound people, hide those things from being shot at. Bellicor is good. Better defensive buffs.
Having to constantly screen demons is a new thing.
Yeah,
that's really annoying. Because you have to screen into the late game now.
That's a pain.
You can bring in your Bloodletter Bomb turn 3, just hide in your backfield if a couple of screening demons
Or
are
you just deploy it on the board and just have it there for all game.
But now you can teleport Havocs very easily. Get back there. You don't need 1,000 Suns to get the Dark Matter Crystal to teleport things. So extra mobility is great. The defensive mechanics for demons are really good.
Yeah.
Just being able to keep those models alive for longer. This makes shooting at a pink horror plot really annoying.
Yeah, and Chapter Master is really good because you can put that on pink horrors, you can put that on Havocs, you can put that on units that are not used to getting a Chapter Master type equivalent, and it really takes their damage above where it was normally.
Yeah.
I think...
making particular units untargetable if they're not the closest, that is just very annoying.
Yeah.
I think these rules are actually pretty strong. I think the biggest concern is where you're getting your damage from consistently in this list.
Yeah.
The meta right now has damage everywhere. So if you can build in a couple elements that can do enough that you can limit some of your opponent's key resources, this probably has quite a bit of play.
Yeah, absolutely. This is pretty cool.
Mark Perry, save us. Well, speaking of Mr. Mark Perry, he is going to be playing 2 games this week with the Disciples of Bellicor rule. Or
are they both?
One is with a Chaos Jank list, and the other one, I believe, in War Room is with Disciples of Bellicor. So
And we'll probably see more Disciples of Bellicor in the future. I think Mark is fairly excited about these new rules.
I think he is excited.
You know, he likes janky chaos, and this is definitely janky, but this is also like there's good jank here. This is not like trash tier jank that you're scraping together. Like there is good combos in here.
You're not like, I need this particular situation to happen where I can do this and then I'll get you.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So,
yeah.
I think this, like you said, I think this is the best Army of Renown that we've seen so far,
Mm-hmm.
and it also elevates chaos.
Well, don't worry, there's one more Army of Renown coming.
Oh, there is.
AdMech have been saved. They had a really disappointing weekend for all of you AdMech players. You know, I know it was painful just watching them lose over and over once every 6 games. But other than that,
John, AdMech haven't got a lot of good rules lately,
That's
so
true,
they
yeah.
needed a powerful Army of Renown. It's called the Skitarii Veteran Cohort.
yeah, the Skitarii buffs we
units-
were all begging for.
So if you haven't really been following the scene lately, AdMech got an amazing codex. It's one of the best to come out. It's right up there with Yukari, and it particularly buffed Skitarii units who got Doctrinas back, and pretty much all their units are either at appropriately costed or below cost, a little cheaper than they should be, with the buffs that they receive. And this veteran cohort buffs those units. It does.
I can't make eye contact with it right now. I'm too sad. I noticed the tears in my eyes.
So let's get into this. So, like all armies of renown, there are some restrictions. So let's go through them because they are not the heaviest of the restrictions they could have got.
Bellicor had a really heavy restrictions.
And
they have some good upside, but they have a really big
Death Guard
downside.
one has some very tough ones. This one has a couple, but they're all something you could probably be okay with. So let's get into them. All units in your army must be Skitarii. So this means none of the Cult Mechanicus stuff, no robots, none of the priests. And
That's all that means. Just no robots, no priests.
Yeah. No servitors either.
No servitors.
No servitors. And then, even though the tech priests are Cult Mechanicus, you can include only one of each of those types of models. So one Dominus, one Manipulus, one Engine Seer, one Techno Archaeologist. So you can't stack double Manipulus, but I've been doing Dominus Manipulus anyway, so it doesn't really change what I've been doing. All units in your army must be drawn from the same Forge World. This is the biggest one. I personally think Lucius and Mars is the strongest combo. If you want to take the Veteran Cohort, you have to be a pure Forge World.
Yes.
So you have to either pick Lucius or Mars or go a
Or
different
another,
direction. Yep. And then each detachment in your army must include at least one Skitarii Marshal. This is their lieutenant. He's a 45-point, really cheap character. He has an amazing relic to let you reroll hits of 1, along with his wounds of 1. So he's just, that's not very, if you want to take 2 detachments, you take 2 Marshals, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's fine.
And then your Warlord must be a Skitarii Marshal model. Turns out Skitarii actually got the best Warlord traits in the book, in my opinion, outside of the Forge World specific one for Lucius. So this isn't it's not a bad deal to have one.
No, not at all.
Those are the downsides. Awesome. Then we have the benefits. All Skitarii units in your army gain the Skitarii Veteran Cohort keyword. So once again, this is going to be your Iron Striders, your Infiltrators, Rust Stalkers, Cerberus Raiders, your Rangers, your Vanguard, the good stuff.
Yep.
You have access to the Skitarii Vanguard, the trait, the relic, the stratagems, and then all your Rangers and all your Vanguard have to be upgraded to Veterans. So this is, each time you upgrade a model to Veteran, you add 2 points to it. So they go from 8 points to 10 points, which means a full unit of 20, which will, with a Omni Specs to ignore light cover, was 165 normally. Now when you make them Veterans, it's 205. Okay. So it's a decently, because you're running at least 3 of these bricks, and you have to upgrade them. You're looking at about 120 points or so.
Not nothing.
So it's not nothing. You do have to upgrade them, but what do they get when they're upgraded? So when Rangers are upgraded, they get +1 to their leadership and attacks characteristics, so they go to 2 attacks, Sergeants 3, and then they also get a 5-up invuln. This is a big deal because the main way people have been dealing with the AdMech bricks is if they don't have access to a lot of mortals, they've been going after their 6-up invuln. Because a lot of the buffs are against, plus it to save against 1 damage weapons or ignoring AP 1 and 2.
It's a plasma.
So a lot of AP 3, AP 4 stuff has been going. 5-up invuln helps a lot against that stuff.
It
does.
It really does.
Then on top of that, they get an extra buff. So if they're Rangers, they if they didn't make a normal move, they count as in light cover. They didn't make a normal
Yeah.
move, advance, or fall back in your movement phase. They count as light cover.
Okay. So turn 1, you're in light cover. If
You just get turn 1. You don't even need that command phase
You
buff
don't
to
need
counter.
Shroud.
You don't need Shroud Thumb if you're Mars. You don't need the command phase buff for cover.
Yep.
It's just good defensive ability there. Then we have, and to be clear, the Rangers are also a unit that pregame moves. So you can move it at an angle.
Stationary and get light cover. Yeah.
Because it's in your movement phase. That
We know.
Yeah. Just put it out there.
He's rubbing it in.
Skitarii Vanguard veterans. What do the Vanguard get? They also get +1 leadership, +1 attacks. They get the 5 invuln. And then their ability is if each time the advance roll is made, you roll an additional d6 and discard 1 of the dice. And then each time the unit is targeted by a weapon with the blast rule, the unit doesn't count as 6+ models.
Yeah.
So you wanted to put your full unit of plasma inceptors in there, no blast. That's tough.
It's not what I like.
Tough. Now it's only on the Vanguard, but Vanguard they're tough to deal with.
Yeah, and a little bit faster, harder to kill.
Yep.
That's not too bad.
All right. What else do they get with this? They get a Warlord trait and a Relic. The Warlord trait interacts with the Stratagems. If it's a particular doctrine turn, you use a particular stratagem while that doctrine is active, the stratagem costs 1 less command point.
Pretty solid.
To a minimum of 0. So we'll get to the stratagems. You'll see why this is actually useful in a second. And then the Relic is very powerful. It's called the Cantic Thrallnet. In your command phase, you pick a friendly Skitarii Vanguard veteran cohort core unit. So once again, this can be pretty much all the good Skitarii units, not the vehicles, of course. And you select, if they have a data tether, you can just select them anywhere on the battlefield. And until the start of your next command phase, the doctrine that is active for the army, even if it has been active from your army before, so you select one of the doctrines, and it could be one you selected already. So it could be +1 save, it could be +3 movement, it could be +1 to hit, +1 weapon skill. So
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
it's just you can just the one unit you're putting all your defensive buffs on. You already popped your +1 save turn. All right, well this unit still has it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just one unit gets +1 save.
Now the downside of +1 save is -3-inch move, but that's why you have a Skitarii Marshal, because he selects the unit to ignore the depreciation.
Yeah. Now it does specify that if you have a rule to ignore depreciation and you have 2 depreciations on you, you only ignore one of them.
You pick one.
But you can usually pick the one that makes it all work.
Exactly. So if you're +1 to hit that turn, and then you want to do +1 save, you would get rid of the mobility penalty probably.
Yeah, I mean your -1 hit weapon skill, but so be it.
Yeah. So this Relic is awesome. You just take that.
That's an auto
It's
take.
just auto take.
So
just straight into the list. Now it has to go on your.
Has to go on a Marshal.
Yep.
But that's still pretty darn
because
good.
if you're taking 2 detachments, which because of the amount of Skitarii units you want to take, you probably are. You're taking 2 Marshals now. One can get Exemplar's Eternity, but honestly, you're taking the Dominus now, so
you may not even need Exemplar's
exactly.
Eternity. Although it's good, you may not need it.
You may not need it, so
yeah.
There's play there. So what are these stratagems? These are pricey stratagems.
Yes.
Well, 2 of them.
As they should be. As they should be.
They've accounted for unit size in here.
And power level.
Which they didn't do in the Codex. So first one's the Benaric Offensive. That's 3 CP. Use the strat in your shooting phase. Select 1 enemy unit and 2 Skitarii Veteran Cohort core units. Once again, this is your Iron Striders, your Infiltrators, Ruststalkers, your Rangers, Vanguards. Your Cerberus Raiders even. And until the end of the phase, models in those 2 Skitarii units can only target that enemy unit, and only that enemy unit is an eligible target for those attacks. Each time a model in one of those 2 units makes a ranged attack, +1 to wound.
3 CP is expensive, but +1 to wound is a massive buff.
But if you take that Warlord trait, it goes down to 2 CP if it's the turn where you're +1 to hit.
Yeah, so if you happen to be +1 to hit, don't worry, it will be easier to get +1 to wound.
Yeah.
That's good.
And cheaper, yeah.
That's pretty strong right there.
Then you have Aggression Override. This is only 1 CP. Use in the fight phase, select a Skitarii Veteran Cohort unit from your army that made a charge move. Till the end of the phase, +1 to the attacks. This means with Veteran, Ranger, or Vanguard Brick, they're 2 attacks now because they're veterans. Yep. You can get them to 3 attacks each. That's a lot of volume coming out from a big unit.
Yeah. Like, it's not crazy.
It's not crazy, but you're gonna,
volume.
There's also 1 CP strat in the Codex for +1 strength on Skitarii, so
I didn't even know that.
You can just stack. Yeah, you can use that on Rust. You typically use it on Ruststalkers and Infiltrators, but now there's a reason to use it on these volumes.
Yeah.
A bunch of witches are in combat with you. I want them dead. Pop it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's +1 attack, +1. That's really good. Good little counter charge.
This is when you're charging, to be clear.
Yes.
And then Bionic Endurance is 2 CP or 3 CP. Use the strat in any phase. Excellent. I love the utility of that. When a model in a Skitarii veteran cohort core unit from your army would lose a wound, till the end of the phase, you get a 5-up unit of pain. If the unit has 10 or more power level, this stratagem costs 3. Otherwise, it costs 2.
And it's important to note that the power level of the veterans goes up as well. So not only do they get a points increase, they get a power level increase. So normally 20 Vanguard is 8 power level. That is 10.
The veterans are 10.
So that would be 3 CP on a 20-man unit.
Yep.
But on honestly, if you have a big Iron Strider brick, or if you use like Rust Stalkers or Raiders,
it's good value. And then once again, if you have that Warlord trait, if this is the turn where you have +1 save, then you get this for 1 less.
You also get that. Yep.
The other thing is they've given them the specific stratagem type. So the first 2 are battle tactics, and then the second 2 are strategic ploy. I believe one of the Holy Orders interact with these and can reduce the stratagem cost by 1 CP. So potentially you could reduce these even further.
Yes.
So something to think about. Expedited Purge Protocol is the last stratagem. This one is 1 CP or 2 CP. Use the strat in your movement phase when a Skitarii veteran cohort core unit, excluding vehicles. This is the first time they've excluded vehicles, but you don't really want to use this.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. It's probably going to be okay. They didn't want you to use it on Dragoons, I guess. That unit is eligible to declare a charge that turn, even if it advanced. So if it's a troop unit, it costs only 1 CP. Otherwise, it's 2.
Yeah, so the Rangers and Vanguard gets 1 CP, but like Rust Stalker is 2.
Advance and charge is so useful on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's so...
I think of comboing this with like... Well, Vanguard that roll 2d6 take the highest when they advance.
Yeah.
Anything Metallica... anything Metallica who decides to go +6 move. Just 1 CP auto 6 advance.
Yeah.
That can be really, really good.
Yeah, and you have the protocol for +3-inch move. Like you can be moving these Skitarii, and
that's crazy.
One of the most powerful things about AdMech is they don't just shoot you off the board, but they can also play the mission very well if you design around it. And you could be giving people zeros by stringing those Ranger and Vanguard.
Yeah, this is
awesome.
Bananas. Bananas over here.
So this is the AdMech rules. They're awesome. I don't think they're necessary, frankly. In my opinion, I don't think you have to do this. I think you can stick with the Lucius and Mars combo that I've been running and be perfectly fine.
But this is good.
But this is also very strong. I think if you do take it, you do take the Warlord trait. I think you do need to reduce the command point cost of this stuff because AdMech, in my opinion, is pretty CP starved to start out with.
I might try to make this 1 detachment, honestly, just to get those.
It's so hard because
the fast attacks are crowded.
The fast attacks are crowded. That's
Absolutely.
the problem. I could see you not running Iron Striders with this, though, and running an even more aggressive list. And that's how you would do it.
Yeah.
You would just drop the Iron Striders.
Yeah, why not just put like 60 Sicarans in battalion?
Yep.
Spider-Man, go.
Yeah, seriously.
It's crazy, but there's a lot of play for a lot of factions.
There are a lot of...
like, not just Lucius wants this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the sub-factions could make real legitimate use out of this.
I am, in fact, playing these rules against John on Tuesday.
Yep.
I am not running Lucius and Mars like I've been doing. You can't do it with the veteran cohort. So instead, I am experimenting with a particular custom trait, which is the expansionist one.
Yeah.
And I'm going for the pregame move and the extra AP in combat. Because I honestly think this benefits combat the +1 attack and combo with advanced charge.
Yep.
And the veterans just getting +1 attack.
Yeah, it's great combat buffs. They still shoot well.
I like it. And then the extra mobility of getting up the table with everything a little quicker.
Yeah.
I think there's some play there.
And then the Cantic Thrall that maybe lets you like pick one unit and give it +3 move. Because you usually don't need that on all your army. But the one unit that's going to be advancing and charging, might as well give them +3 moves as well. Yeah, they're -1 save, but they were probably going to die.
I think there's a lot of cool combos there that I want to try out.
Right.
So I think this is amazing. I don't think, like I said, you have to run it. You could do without it, and it would be perfectly fine. AdMech is powerful enough. But it does add a new dimension to the list.
Well, Lyle Dixon is in here.
We got a $5 super chat from Mr. Lyle Dixon. Big update on the Skitarii supplement. Shorter tournament round times. The number of people lining. There's no reason to play at this point.
No.
These are good rules.
They're really good.
This is the best Army of Renown that we've seen so far. Like the initial first campaign book, you were like, Armies of Renown are probably going to be like, they're trying to give you a different option or play style, but they're not going to be overbearing. We got
Bellicor, which is a cool playstyle for Chaos, and I think it's quite useful. And then we got this army for now for AdMech, which is just your good stuff is even better if you want it to be.
Yep.
So,
Not all Army of Renowns are created equal. Then we have a $5 super chat from Zachariah Herman. Over time, we saw some other factions find good builds that could somewhat mitigate Drukhari's 70% win rate. John with his Ultramarines, me with my Tau. Do you see that happening with AdMech now?
I think it will happen. It's just AdMech is really good, and it's gonna take some time to find it. I think one of the big comparisons people have made about AdMech to Drukhari is that Drukhari usually turned on turn 2. They usually didn't alpha strike you that hard on turn 1, so it gave people like our lists that were specifically built to kill them a little bit of time to set our feet and man the cannons. AdMech doesn't always give you time.
The thing about our list is like my Crisis list, your Dreadnought list, it could actually deploy on the line and be relatively comfortable against 5 or 6 Dark Lances. You have the redeploy to play a little more defensive. I have drones.
Yep.
But we'd be in a really great position to contest the objectives on the mission, and if we go first, we get to shoot them off.
AdMech is really...
If you go second against AdMech and I try that, I'll have a bad time.
This is anecdotal. Like, I haven't seen AdMech go second and lose yet. I have beaten AdMech going when I went first. I have played AdMech. I played a game just to help Jack test out his sister's list last night, and AdMech went first, and the scoreboard dominance was very, very real.
The thing is, like, when you build in all these speed elements like we've been doing here at the Art of War,
Yeah.
you were giving your opponent zeros on primary.
Yeah, there's more board control, there's more speed, there's more...
so many units in front of you, you can't get through it quick enough,
No.
and they also do a crazy amount of damage, so when you commit, if you underperform on your damage, the AdMech army just goes to town on you.
Absolutely.
So
and whatever steps
up
out there is getting hit back.
I think instead of the lists that are going to drop AdMech's win rate, it's the amount of terrain on the board.
That's the big thing.
I think
really
you need
want more
a lot of solid line of sight blocking things, and like you need 6 ruins, get some forests and stuff to limit their mobility early game. Stuff like that is going to be pretty important. And pure line of sight blocking on that first bottom.
100%. Get
WTC style. I think that's where.
I think that makes a huge difference, and I would love to see more. Honestly, like, it seems weird to bring back the old 8th edition rule. First 4 always blocks line of sight. I kind of want it to.
I think against AdMech, it's
becoming incredibly necessary.
Because
the GW train, we can already see that's how they're going to be playing it, because there just aren't any windows there. If that happens at frontline gaming events and more events and local events, that becomes a big deal, and I think that really will help mitigate AdMech.
Because it gives a lot of benefits to armies like Drukhari, White Scars, who want to get into the middle of the board and then be able to...
And I don't want Drukhari to get a ton of benefits, but I don't want AdMech to be running away with the show either.
But then you play an actual game.
Then
it's
you play an actual game.
Yeah. You're not just getting picked up. So I think terrain is actually going to be the strongest way to start lowering AdMech's win rate without any FAQ updates.
But thanks, that was an excellent question.
All right, let's just give a big synopsis of this.
Martyred Lady felt like it wasn't a straight upgrade. It was a bit of a diagonal, kind of some sideways, some up. Looks like did we just get a...
We did. We got a $10 super chat from Matt. Oh, if you focus on the AdMech support units, cavalry, ruststalkers, etc., can you try and play the mission if you don't focus on the top bricks and the laser chickens?
I think you do both. I think you take a couple bricks, you don't go crazy with them.
Yeah.
Right? You're not trying to run 80.
I think he's talking about the opponent view.
Oh, the opponent?
If you
focus down, I got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay, so go ahead, John.
I think you have to. This is unfortunate because no one wants to ignore chickens lasering them, and some armies may have a makeup that forces them to engage the chickens early, but you've got to clear out the mission playing elements fast if you want to make it through against AdMech.
Yeah, I mean, in the games that we've played on stream, whether it's against you or against Nick, the chickens, they do their one job really well. If you have tanks and stuff, they'll kill them very quickly, and then they don't do a whole lot.
Yeah, once I'm out of tanks, they're not that scary.
No, you can...
I don't like getting lasered, but so be it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can slow down their board playing elements, which, that is killing the infiltrators early, killing the rust stalker, killing the stuff that's going to help them play the mission, make charges, contest your objectives. They're running the veteran cohort now. They have that advanced and charge access, which opens up a new dimension to it. But I think you kill the easy stuff first. Get rid of resources as much as possible. Don't try and go into the unkillable brick if you can't do it. Try and mitigate it. Move block it, etc.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just tie it down.
It's really
Poor Solar Flare plays.
yeah. Try to get them to burn their once a game tricks, especially the mobility ones like Solar Flare. Even if you lose something to do it, like I would sacrifice Retribution Squad for you to not have Solar Flare 100%.
It's
Try to remove some elements and make the AdMech army a little more one-dimensional, and then see if you can get around that, the angle they're shooting to score points.
Yeah.
And maybe limit their score if you can. Protect your own. Do something.
if they do take the veteran cohort, they don't have the cheap servitor units anymore, so something has to hold their backfield. It's not going to be the big ranger bricks.
Yeah.
It's unlikely to be characters. So in that case, try if you can get an angle on the stuff back there and pick it up, then and have mobility to either reserves or things to teleport back there. That can be another way to force AdMech to fight on so many different fronts. Use terrain to your advantage, of course.
Yeah, I think that's what you gotta do.
Thanks so much for that super chat, Matt.
Thank
Very
you,
much
Matt.
appreciated. So
synopsis.
Yeah.
Sisters got a slight upgrade with Martyred Lady. I don't think, even though Martyred Lady went up, I don't think that it matched the
highest part of Sisters.
Yeah. I don't think it matched the peak of Sisters, frankly. It's good. I don't think it's absolutely amazing, but it's a nice upgrade for Martyred Lady and it gives more options for the buff. Play it off. Lyle.
$5 super chat. I will donate $100 million if you can convince me that there's a good reason Bellacore is 360 points when the Nightbringer's 370.
Well, you see, Bellacore has the 4-up invuln and is T7, while the Nightbringer is also T7 with the 4-up invuln. But Bellacore can do mortal wounds, which the Nightbringer can also do. And you can kill Bellacore in one turn if you are really good.
Bellacore doesn't have Sky and Falling Stars.
Bellacore does not have Sky Falling Stars.
That's reason enough. $100 million, Lyle. Can't
Kyle
wait.
Dixon, let me
Art of War is fun to
I will
forever.
email you my Venmo. Yeah, we are good. We're getting every commission paint, so I'm never painting again.
The real answer is early Codex Syndrome. I honestly feel when we finally get the next chapter approved
my
that a
goodness.
lot of Necron stuff will.
Yeah.
Especially the Catan.
Yeah.
I could very easily see like 30 to 50 point decrease.
Wow, I did not put that comparison together. That is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Bellacore is good, but I don't think he's undercosted at 360.
No, I think he's actually pretty
I
reasonable.
think 360 is I think I'd take Bellacore, but it's not. Yeah, I'm
But
taking
you
Bellacore
compare him
in
to the
every
Silent
place.
King too.
Yeah.
450, like it's.
I think the Silent King is better. He's much better
yeah.
buff, but points.
Is he that much
Points.
better? It's question mark. So I think they're finding a nice medium with the bigger size models, and we'll probably see that when we get the Thousand Suns book with Magnus.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because killing Magnus is it's a lot of fun. Love to see him on the table again.
That, yeah. Bellacore's an interesting.
Bellacore's rules.
Bellacore's rules are really cool. I think they're good. I think that I think it's an upgrade. However, it is definitely. I think it's definitely more interesting than what Chaos is working with right now, because Chaos feels like they're kind of waiting on the Thousand Suns book and honestly a Demon and Chaos Space Marine book to be really interesting. I think putting a off-the-wall janky Chaos list in there, I think that's great. Yeah. Chaos needed a little more flavor. They needed updated rules. There's a lot of powerful stuff here. I'm very happy with this as a non-Chaos player, but I sympathize because those poor Chaos players deserve some love. They deserve more from the Legion rules, but failing that, at least this is interesting.
Yeah. I think the Bellacore Disciples of Bellacore rules they buff Chaos players, people who focus on Chaos as their main faction.
Yeah.
They're gonna get the most.
Yeah,
out of these
I don't think
rules.
that
this is if you're a dedicated Chaos.
I think if you haven't played Chaos in 6 months, except
just
for one
swap
game
to
with
this.
Steam, it's just with Beast of Nurgle and Plague Drones like Nick. I don't think you're gonna just immediately swap to Bellacore and be like, "Yep, this is the one army in the game I want to play now." But if you play Chaos, this is much better than
I
what
think
you
there's
can
a depth there.
Yeah,
That
there's
you can
a
actually
lot more
find some
depth.
real cool
And
combos.
there's got to be a lot of combos we haven't seen yet.
And Mark's gonna try him out.
Mark is gonna go deep on. I'm scared of Mark with this stuff. This is if Mark was playing this, I'd sit back and pay attention. Okay, this is probably gonna be good.
There's a lot of different pieces all together, but they have synergies. They're actually synergistic.
Yeah.
AdMech rules, they're amazing. I don't think they're necessary. Like I said, you don't have to run the Skitarii veteran cohort. You could keep your servitors. You could run your Lucius and Mars combo or whatever combos you want and do amazingly well. I think if you do build towards it, you need to get that Warlord trait to make these stratagems cheaper, because the stratagems are the amazing part. Being able to +1 attack, advance and charge, and I think it's worth testing the custom forge rules with these rules. Because the custom forge rules I think are the better. I think they're better than Ryza. I think the extra AP is.
I really like Ryza.
I like the pregame move and extra.
I like Ryza though.
It's
Plus
good.
One, +1 wound. Come on, baby.
Yeah.
+1 wound, all the dice.
But if you're running the Vanguards, you're -1 toughness on them, and you can get +1 strength on yourself.
Yeah.
Generally, that's a wash. But
But you can do -1 toughness and +1 strength and +1 to wood.
AdMech did not get weaker whatsoever.
No,
They did not get an option that was
No.
poor. They got another great rule set on top of the already amazing
did.
codex.
They did.
So this is just more things to think about when you're playing against an AdMech list. It's going to add more diversity to AdMech list because I don't think everybody will go for the veteran cohort.
No.
But 5 of invuln on loses. That's tougher, a lot tougher to deal with.
Yep.
So, and also being able to put the unit in the relic is amazing. Being able to put the
Yeah.
unit in the doctrine that you need each turn, it's so good.
It's so powerful.
It's so good.
AdMech did not need love. They got love. I don't think it's completely broken, but you take an S tier army and you give them A+ rules.
You give them more options.
It's just more choices. Like, okay. Like, nothing here is bad for AdMech.
Yeah.
You don't have to take it. You'll be good anyways. If you take it, it's more good stuff.
I think if you take it, you're building more towards the denial side of AdMech.
Yeah, but
Getting access to advantage. I
I think that playstyle is really powerful, though.
Yeah, I think it's super powerful. You saw it in the Warzone game last week. So, awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Very much appreciate all the super chats, everybody hanging out
Thank you
and
so much.
talking 40K rules. We are going to be doing the same thing next week with Mr. Brad Chester and Nick Nanavati when they talk about the orc stuff.
Or
That is gonna be coming
Codex. That's going to be so exciting.
I cannot wait. Nick, it's been a hot minute since he played orcs, but he likes orcs. He's a Makari incarnate.
Absolutely.
And we're going to see what magic he's going to work with orcs. Because back when orcs were very popular, he had a very different playstyle overall.
Yep.
And I know Brad did too. So getting those guys' opinions on the orcs, that's going to happen next week. For this week, on Tuesday, we are playing the brand new campaign rules. John Lennon is busting out our Martyred Lady.
I sure am.
I am playing a Skitarii veteran cohort with the custom expansionist Forge World.
Yeah.
And then on Wednesday, we'll have our usual Hangout and Hobby, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on this very channel. And then on Thursday, we have 2 games. One is a sub-match. That is Jack playing his Death Watch into Mark Perry playing a Chaos Jank list built around the Crimson Crown and Mortal Wounds. And then in the War Room on Thursday, that is going to be Jack Harpster playing his latest and greatest Sisters list versus Mark playing the Disciples of Bellicor.
That's going to be really good.
Yep.
I'm most excited to see Bellicor on the table.
Yep. And if you want to make a choose a sub match at the end of every month, the top 2 donors of the channel through super chats gets to choose a stream match. So Fred was one of those top donors from last month, and he's getting his sub match this Thursday. If you want to pick a matchup, Orcs versus Disciples of Bellicor, you can make it happen.
I'd love to see that.
I would love to see it too. Or our Martyred Ladies so they can use that strat.
Yeah, Vengeance Farmageddon.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. I very much appreciate your support, and we hope to see you in the wonderful stream games. If you ever want to check out our schedule, check out our social media where we post the schedule each week at the start of every week on Monday. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Ooh, the AdMech John.
Why would you
love it?
No, don't do that.
Come on.
Don't
Dive even deeper into competitive 40K and become a member of the world's most knowledgeable and positive community.
The War Room is an exclusive group that brings together the world's best 40K players as coaches to help anyone from a newer player to an experienced tournament veteran learn, grow, and reach their goals within our shared hobby.
Each week we offer a variety of live stream coaching matches centered around illuminating the thought process and in-game decision making of top players. We explain everything we're doing and why.
You'll learn about the ever-evolving meta, match play mission theory, list making, and discussion of every faction in the game, and have access to analysis of all the latest rules. Our team of highly experienced coaches teach weekly clinics on each individual faction, strategy sessions on deployment and cool tricks, and meta-analyses each week during Meta Monday.
We are committed to not only providing the best knowledge for players available, but also building a one-of-a-kind community.
Come be a part of the War Room.